Okay then team, so as I mentioned to you at Prince's, I just wanted to do a bit of a bunker basics 101 type video for you. Okay, I'm going to post it on the WhatsApp group. Hopefully it's something that you may find beneficial. If so, as I say, it'll be on the group, you can go back, you can reference it, and hopefully it may help you a little bit. Okay, so I think definitely across the board as a team, bunker play is something that we can all improve a little bit. I would say one key thing to doing that is literally just more time in the bunkers. If you think about how much time do you actually spend in a bunker now in practice, relative to the rest of your practice, is probably very, very minimal. So just simply more time in bunkers will help, okay? So I'm just gonna cover kind of the basic greenside bunker shot. It's a shot that you are definitely all good enough golfers to have no real issues with that shot, be able to get the ball out consistently, roughly where you want it to go, okay? And the key thing I'm gonna cover for that is the setup, because 99.9% of the time, when people are having issues with their bunker play, it's down to the setup. It's very, 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 very rare that somebody's set up for success, set up really well for their bunker shots, and it's just an issue with the swing. It almost always comes down to the setup. So if we can get the setup right and setup absolutely nailed, again, you're good enough golfers to be able to consistently get that ball out roughly where you want the ball to go. Okay, so basic greenside bunker shot, I generally recommend using your most lofted club. This is my 58-degree wedge. All right, so I'm going to go through a few setup basics. The first thing we want to think about is in terms of how do we stand to the ball. So we want our feet, first of all, to give them a little bit of a wiggle into the sand. That just helps you to get a little bit lower down to the sand. We want to probably feel a little bit more flex, a little bit more bend in your knees than you normally would. Again, just to get you a little bit lower to the sand, to get your lower body nice and stable. We want a relatively stable lower body for these bunker shots, okay? Feet distance apart is going to be roughly probably just inside driver. So you want them relatively wide, but not crazy wide. So that's kind of a good reference, maybe just slightly narrower than how you would have your feet for a driver, okay? In terms of distance from the ball, a really good reference is feeling like your 6-iron distance from the ball. So the distance you would stand from the ball from your 6-iron, if you can feel like you're roughly about the same. So for me, about there is where I feel I would be with my 6-iron. That's the distance you want to be from the ball, okay? Notice how as well I've got my right foot turned out just slightly and my left foot turned out that little bit more. So slightly daffy ducking with the feet, okay? From here, ball position. So we want the ball to be quite far forward in the stance. Again, not quite driver forward, maybe just a ball width back from driver. So kind of, again, a good little reference is left ear. So we want to feel like the ball is kind of sitting under where the left ear is, okay? Now, from here, we want to have more weight onto the left foot, okay? So what I would do is, because you got your left foot flared out, you can kind of push your knee over the top of your left foot. I feel here, you probably see all my weight is moving to my left foot, so I'm kind of at about 90% there. And I'm just going to move it back ever so slightly to get about 70%. So you want to feel roughly around about 70% is on that left foot, okay? Ball over my left ear, feet slightly narrower than driver, toes turned out, a little bit more of the left foot, 70% of the weight on the left foot, and I want to open the face slightly as well, okay? The reason we want to open the face, there's enough loft with my 58-degree to get the ball out of the bunker without opening the face, but opening the face exposes the bounce. Bounce does exactly what it says on the tin, because we want to hit the sand before the ball. The bounce will kick in and the club will literally bounce through the sand and keep going, and that's really going to help get that ball out of the bunker, okay? So we want to open the face, whatever club you're using generally, not necessarily, sometimes we want to get a bit higher, yes, but not necessarily for the loft, a bit more for the bounce, okay? Also, a common mistake is as you kind of lean forward, put that knee over the toes a little bit more, get 70% of the weight on the left foot, the tendency can be to have the handle forward. We don't want to do that because it's going to deal off the club and it's going to take away the bounce. We also don't want it back, and we don't need it back. We want it just vertical. So if I was wearing a zipper here, feeling like it's just kind of neutral and about the same height as my, on the same line as my zipper. Okay, so from here I'm now set up for success. One final thing to mention as well is I'm generally pretty square with my feet, hips and shoulders. People often think you need to sort of open yourself up and hit down and across and left to get out of the bunker. You really don't need to do that at all. That can cause issues with where the club hits the sand and how steep it is. So we just can be relatively neutral, fairly square with the setup, okay? Now from here, if you can get this setup nailed, as I say, you are set up for success. The two key things we need to do, we need to hit the sand just in front of the ball. Not crazy far in front of the ball, and we don't want to catch the ball clean either. So probably just about 2 centimeters behind the ball is where we want to hit it. So you can even draw a line if it's going to help you. Just before we hit the ball is where, just before the ball, sorry, is where we want the club to be entering the sand. Okay. If we can do that and we can have enough speed in the club, it should really not be a problem. You girls are more than good enough golfers, as I say, to get the ball out of the bunker consistently, going, getting it where we want it to go. Okay, so they're the two key principles to think about: hitting the sand just before the ball and having enough speed in the club. This setup that I've just talked through is really going to help with that. Okay, so from this setup to do those two things, hit the sand just before the ball and have enough speed, it's literally just a 1/2 to 3/4 swing. If you can make your normal 1/2 to 3/4 swing from that setup position, it should really help to do those two things. You shouldn't have too much of a problem, as I say, getting out of the bunker, getting it roughly where you want it to go. So I've gone through all those setup things. I'm going to kind of lean to about 90 to 100%, bring it back a bit. I'm at 70%, face is open, shaft is vertical. I'm probably going to do about a 1/2 swing here, see if I can hit the sand just before the ball. There we go, job done. So I hit the sand just before the ball there, should have heard a little bit of a thud, had enough speed, and that's just my standard kind of 10 to 15 yard bunker shot, decent bit of height. Okay, so really focus in on the setup, focus on going through those setup points. If you can do that, that should help you to hit the sand just before the ball with enough speed. You shouldn't really have an issue getting the ball out of the bunker. You are good enough golfers to have no issues with this. Go through those pointers if you think it's going to help, but just spend more time in the bunkers as well. Okay, absolutely, girls, please feel free to send me a video from this angle or from down the line from behind. Please feel free to send me over a video if you're struggling with your bunker shots. I'll happily have a look at it, happily analyze it, and happily send it back to you. Okay, so it's not bothering me at all. It's my job, it's what I'm here to do. So if you want that extra support with your bunker shots or anything, please feel free. You're not bothering me, please feel free to send it over. Okay, let me know if you've got any questions around any of that as well. All right, keep working hard on your games, girls, and I'll see you soon.